Hey, good afternoon, everybody. It's Rich and Monty, and of course, Miss Stella here today with us. She has decided to become the official show dog, so pretty excited about having her on board today. And what we're even more excited about is our guest today. So, warm welcome you to the show, and kind of here's what we're doing as we go throughout the day today. We're going to share any updates as they come to our mind and what we're thinking about, stuff we might have left off from the last broadcast. But most importantly, we're going to spend our time interviewing our guest. And our guest is Andy Falco Jimenez. And Andy is a 9-time Amazon best-selling author. His newest book is all about CBD oil and how well it works. So we're going to get into that and talk to him a little bit more in depth on that in just a couple of minutes. So I'm going to have Andy give you a little bit of his background in just a few minutes. But Andy and I met, it's got to be 5-6 years ago at Mike Koenig's original Publish and Profit thing, where we were both looking at how to become best-selling authors. He's beat me to it 9 times. I haven't gotten there with mine just yet, but we're going to get there. So without further ado, let me introduce you guys to Andy Falco Jimenez. Let me take our lower third down and put his up. Now, Andy is joining us live. I think he's drunk in some bar somewhere in Southern California or something like that. No, actually, Andy, welcome to the show. We're glad to have you. Tell everybody where you're at right now.
I'm at the Irvine Spectrum in Irvine, California, and it's a great place. A lot of people here in Southern California, South Orange County, come here. There's tons of restaurants, tons of shopping, and it's growing. It grows every year. They add stuff all the time, so it's a great place to come.
Yeah, and unfortunately, aren't you from the home of the St. Louis? Los Angeles Rams?
Yes, they're finally back home. The Los Angeles Rams are home. My team. I don't know what they were doing in St. Louis. I don't know what happened. They lost their way, but they found their way back to Los Angeles.
Towards the end there, as Monty just said, they weren't doing very much. So yes, they're back in Los Angeles, and you can have them now. So that's quite all right. So to kind of bring everybody up to speed on what's going on, give us a little bit of your background. I mean, we know some of it, and I know your listeners know a lot of it, but tell us a little bit about your background.
Well, I'll cut to the part. And I was a police officer with the city of Anaheim for 21 years. I was a canine trainer, a police dog trainer, a police dog handler. And to where I'm at now, I ended up getting retired because of post-concussion syndrome, PTSD, all the things that you hear about with military. Also happens with law enforcement. So I was kind of forced into retirement. I continued my dog training business, where I learned how to market myself and become a best-selling author, get on television, all that kind of stuff. And then just kind of grew older and began to have some of the things that as you get older, you start to, experience, like, prostate cancer and stuff like that. So it's a very fast description of a police officer, hockey player, athlete. I was a pole vaulter, lots of bones, broken, dislocated shoulder, all that kind of stuff. So just to give you a little bit of a rundown, PTSD, a lot of pain, high blood pressure, prostate cancer, all led me to CBD oil and to try to give it a shot. So that's kind of my background in a nutshell, to kind of lay it all out as to how I found myself trying CBD oil. I fought it because being a cop, I associated with marijuana and Schedule I narcotics and didn't want to try it. And then here I am today, actually a very fond user. I think it's one of the best things that's ever happened to me in my entire life. And I'm here with you today to tell people about it.
Cool. So let's start with that for a second. Being a former police officer, you were probably thinking a lot of the same things that a lot of people in corporate America are. Number one, the stigma around, oh my gosh, they hear CBD oil, they automatically think marijuana and cannabis and piss testing and all those kind of things. Did you go through that too as you were dealing with all this?
Yep, I think that you could actually put cannabis and stigma together because that's what keeps so many people from trying it. It is legal in all 50 states. It has little to no THC in it. It is basically like a vitamin, right? It's a dietary supplement that has some amazing products to it that really change people's lives in the form of, you know, helping people with pain, helping people asleep, and a whole number of other things. And that stigma keeps people from trying it. And I'm here to help you break through that stigma and help people, you know, try it and just give it a shot because that's for using it.
And that's one of the things I was looking at too, because still being involved in corporate America, you're subject to random urinalysis and drug testing and things like that. Now, what's interesting is the company that you led me to and that both of us now work with, HempWorks, provides two different versions. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, well, you have a very low THC property, which is 0.03%, which is virtually almost non-existent, and then you have the formula that has no THC. What I just recently found out from a doctor I interviewed earlier today is that even the 0.03% doesn't show up on a drug test, and of course the type that with no THC doesn't show up on a drug test. And again, I've never been tested with it, so I can't say that I've experienced the same thing because I tried it. But two or more people today on the show said while taking CBD oil and the HempWorks CBD oil, I got to make sure that that's clear. No THC has showed up on the drug test. Thereby, there's no concern about whether or not somebody's going to fail a drug test at their business. Again, only I can tell you is that those are the people. That's what I'm hearing from a surgeon, an MD. I've heard it from two people that have been drug tested that it doesn't show up on a drug test.
And that's exciting because I was on your broadcast listening this afternoon, and it was amazing to hear a surgeon and a pain doctor talk about how she uses CBD oil, and they do random testing, and she's never had a single person show up on either version, the low THC, the 0.3, or the THC free. So that's really pretty interesting. Now,
and Matthew Adams, who's on right now, he's one of the people that spoke up about being tested recently and didn't have a problem with that. So maybe he can speak to that in a comment on your show.
Absolutely. Matthew, if you've got some comments, please share them with us, and we'll put them up on the screen for everybody to take a look at. Now, tell me a little bit about, I know people are walking behind you going, okay, like ISLA we're filming here or something really cool. I go ask him for his autograph, and if anybody does, I'm going to believe you staged it to ask them to come over and do that. But
one best-selling author. So.
Oh, yeah, that's right. #1 best-selling author. Yes, that's correct. So we're going to get to that in just a second. Tell us a little bit about your results. I know you started, a month and a half or so ago, and I remember when you did your first live broadcast, you were kind of hesitant about, well, I'm trying this. I want to share it with you guys. I don't know where it's going to go. So bring us up to speed. Where's it going?
In a little bit over 2.5 months. So yeah, it's gone by fast. So yes, about 2.5 months ago, I finally, Matthew Adams, again, the person who's on right now, he's the one who told me about it way before that. I was reluctant because of the stigma and because I was a police officer still testifying in court cases involving narcotics and drug dog cases, that kind of stuff. So I didn't want to harm my reputation because I was maybe using something that was a narcotic. Once I felt comfortable that it was not, once that I read all the testimonials from people in my same situation, which was prostate cancer was the reason I started using it, hoping that it would help reduce that cancer, I decided to use it. Now, again, there's not a lot of studies about how it maybe reduces cancer, that kind of stuff, so I don't want to give people the wrong idea, but I've just seen that it could have an impact. So I started taking it like, what the heck? Why not give it a try, considering it doesn't have any effects, negative side effects. After I tried it for the first time, I found a lot of side effects, but they were positive side effects. One of those is I slept for the first time longer than a couple hours, because that's my pattern of sleeping for several years. I slept for 6 hours the first night I took it, and now I'm up to sleeping 6 to 8 hours, depending on my kids, of course, because of I believe the CBD oil. Yeah, I am virtually sleeping like I've never slept before. It has changed my life, because now I'm a lot more clear-headed. Some people will, question that, but I am a lot more clear-headed, at least from my point of view. I have more energy. I can now exercise again because I have more energy. I'm not, tired all the time. And so that's the first. The next thing was I found once my blood pressure was taken that I have lower blood pressure than I've ever had in my entire life. And I have suffered from high blood pressure since I was a teenager. I was, again, a police officer, and I almost didn't pass any of my medical tests to become a police officer because of my high blood pressure. And that was when I was in my early 20s. And so for the first time, my blood pressure is below what it should be and balanced. It's not getting higher. It's not getting lower. It's now, on a really good plane of good health, a good, healthy heart. I've had pain in my shoulder and neck for several years, almost to the point where I could not pick up my kids. I could not weight train anymore. And now I'm able to pick up my kids. I'm able to pick up a 35-pound dumbbell in each one of my hands and do a curl and a shoulder lift. And I don't know what to say. I don't know how to say what I want to say, and that is, it has changed my life. It seems so little of what I can say on how fantastic it is. There has to be a better word for it changing my life in such a positive way. That it's just, now I have to tell all my friends. I tell my friends and family, anybody who will listen, that just on the side effects alone, I am happier than I've ever been in my entire life.
That is fantastic. So Matthew did chime in. Let me put his comment up here on the screen, and we can kind of talk about that. I know you've known Matthew longer than I have. And so what Matthew says, if I can read it here, I was in an accident at work, and as you know, first thing they do is a drug test. I was on my second dose for the day and tested negative, no drugs. So there you go, real life, honest to gosh testimony of this showing up. Now I'm curious, Matthew, were you using the THC-based version with the 0.3 THC in it, or were you using the non-THC-based one?
I believe I can answer that. I know for sure that the regular version, the regular formula that has the 0.003% THC. He's answered that question for me with a couple people. Matthew is my answer man. I send everybody to him because I have no idea what I'm doing in this business.
Yeah, I've been getting to rely on him heavily also. Let's see, he just came back and gave me an answer there. Let's see. Yeah, the THC version. Okay, so that's awesome. Very good. Thank goodness Monty's got better eyes than I do, and she can read all these little comments that are showing up there. That's kind of awesome. All right, so what made you settle on the HempWorks brand? And I mean, there's a bunch of them out there, and Monty could speak to this. She went to Amazon the other night just to see what was out there and share a couple of thoughts about what you saw, if you would, honey, when you researched on Amazon.
So I don't really know what. I don't think I ever saw that they were the kind that were the CO2 derived version, how they do it so pure. But I noticed that it was really pretty cheap, but people also said in the comments, because I am a huge review person, whatever people have done for reviews on any product that I'm going after, I rely on that really heavily. So mostly what the people were saying on there was, find something else that does the trick, because these are either fake or there's not anything in them, or it's just a waste of money. And these obviously were not HempWorks ones, whatever. But the reviews are what really get me going, whether I think that it's going to work or not, and I thought, well, there was a lot of really negative reviews on just the crap that's out there. and being sold on Amazon.
So how did you end up selecting HempWorks? I mean, we selected it because I took your advice, and as I was sharing with a good friend of ours, Winnie Anderson, you were the driving force behind it because, and Winnie and I talked about this, we both know who you are, we know your heart, and we know your background, so it was a no-brainer. But how did you decide to go with HempWorks?
Well, of course, talking to Matthew, talking to a few other people about whatever their products were, the other types of CBD oil there was, a lot of YouTube video watching. And so it all continued to point at HempWorks. And number one, it's affordable. There's other versions that are very expensive. It may seem expensive when you look at this one, but it's not as expensive as others. So that's one. There's no GMO, and it's organic. It's grown in the United States in Kentucky. And then there's a few other ones that I found. If you try it, it doesn't make a change in your life. It doesn't help you with whatever you're taking it for. If you return an empty bottle, they will give you your money back. So there were so many reasons why, between the videos and all those reasons I just gave you, plus being raised and grown in the United States in Kentucky, Kentucky is probably one of the best places to grow hemp, industrial hemp, that it just all continued to point to HempWorks. And then I got to know the owners. I looked them up. I've connected with them on Facebook, and actually had personal one-on-one conversations with them, and I like them. And so it's really important to know the owners of a company and relate to them and trust them and like them and have a connection with them, I think. And that was it. That's all I needed. And so now I think it's one of the best companies that you can buy CBD oil and you can use.
Awesome. Now, Matthew just said, Monty, read that for me because I'm...
Well, the issue with getting them on Amazon is a purity issue. So that's pretty much what the people were saying, that you're not getting the real thing. Basically, they're charging you for what they want to call hemp oil. And then Matthew also said, with HempWorks, you get reps like Andy to help you.
There you go. Kudos to Andy. Absolutely.
That's right.
Thanks.
Now,
and the other thing, if I have time where it stops working, I will tell you. I will say, hey, something's changed. I've done that with dog food. So I'm in the dog business. I've been training dogs for 30 years. I know dog food. I know dog nutrition. I know it backwards and forward. I know what happens when a company goes from a small mom and pop dog food company and sell to a big, huge conglomerate, that the formulas can change, things can change, and it cannot be, and it potentially it's not as pure as it was when it was the mom and pop. And I used to like this dog food. Now it's off my radar because they've sold out, and now it's being made in China or made in a way that's not healthy for our dogs. So I have no problem endorsing a product and then pulling my endorsement from a product once I realize that it's not what it used to be. And so right now, HempWorks is exactly what it is. It's organic. It's fantastic. The moment that they sell out and change their formulation and start making it somewhere else, and I'm not comfortable with it, I'll tell you. And so I have no hesitation of calling people out when it comes to that.
Awesome. Now, spend a minute and just kind of clear up the confusion, the difference between CBD oil made from hemp and CBD oil made from cannabis, or as most people think, from marijuana. Smiling, one of your admirers there.
Well, I am by far not an expert in this. What I've been able to figure out is that you have two types of cannabis. You have what would be known as marijuana, and that is high in THC, right? It works on the head in the cannabinoid system in relationship to your head, which is the endocannabinoid system, right? You have the brain, and then you have an endocannabinoid system, which is in your body, which regulates everything else. THC goes straight to the head, which causes you to get a little high and feel a little funny and eat a lot of Pop-Tarts. CBD, the cannabinoid or cannabis, works within the body and regulates your body. What I like that I've heard that Matthew has compared it to is the iOS system and an iPhone. Is that it every so often needs to be updated. It needs to be it needs all these things to make sure that it runs well, so your phone runs well. Just like our body needs additionally off the endocannabinoid system. CBD directly affects that and keeps it regulated, keeps it running well. Make sure that your inflammation is reduced to a place where it's not causing you any issues with relationship to headaches and pain and all these other things. And so the CBD is what you want. We personally don't want the THC because that is entirely something else. That's marijuana based. CBD oil, which is industrial hemp, that's where we get a lot more CBD oil or CBD product, is out of the industrial hemp. And that's what we want. And that's what HempWorks uses, is industrial hemp, which has little to no THC in it.
All right, great. That's an awesome explanation for that. I know a lot of people are concerned, and again, it's the whole stigma thing that we talked about, all that kind of good stuff.
Yep.
All right, now,
yep.
On to the other subject, your book. Tell us about it.
Well, about 3 weeks ago, well, number one, I'm a coach for something called Publish and Profit, which is down in San Diego. You mentioned Mike Koenig before. He created a program for helping experts and authorities become #1 best-selling authors. I have become a lead coach along with my friend Everett O'Keefe, where we people become best-selling authors. Well, about 3 days leading up to that event, I realized, what am I thinking? Why am I not writing a best-selling book on my experience with CBD oil and about the testimonials and about the truth about CBD oil? And so 3 days before the event, I decided I'm going to write a book. I'm going to publish it. I'm going to become a international #1 best-selling author. And so I did that. So in 3 days, I became an international best-selling author for a book that's going to not only talk about my experience with CBD oil, but testimonials from other people. I'm going to include a section on Dr. Boutwell, and then I'm going to talk about the endocannabinoid system and why CBD oil works within that system and helps regulate your body. So that's what the book's going to be about. It will be written probably in about 60 days or so, and then it'll be available for people to buy the pre-sale. So just go to today's CBD oil on Amazon, and you'll find that book, and you can buy it for 99 cents. And then when I'm done with it, you'll see the end product and all the things I just talked about.
All right, awesome. That is fantastic. And did you pick up share one or two things that you picked up from the interview this afternoon with Dr. Boutwell? That was an awesome interview. What were a couple of new things you might have picked up?
Well, from her directly, it's that I thought that CBD oil was pretty awesome before, that it helped me sleep, helped me with my blood pressure, helped me with the pain in my shoulder, my neck, and then tension in relationship to people that have serious back pain. That a person that had their fingers amputated saw healing within 3 weeks, not 3 years, not 3 months, but in 3 weeks. That she showed us those pictures of, proof that the power of the CBD oil in the healing process. Fibromyalgia to what's the spine one, stenosis or something, I can't remember. She used a lot of big words, so I can't use those big words. But that I was just barely touching the surface with what I was telling my friends and family, right? She just took it to a whole new area with just with surgery and pain and amputations that I never would have even imagined that they'd help people with. So that's one. Number two, she reminded me that it's not just for people that have injuries or illness or pain. It's for people that are healthy. If you have nothing, if you're lucky enough to not have anything that you're going through right now, that you need to also take it, just like any other vitamin, that it will keep you balanced. It will keep you from suffering from things that you may have attracted to your body, if not the oil. So it is just as important for healthy people to use as it is for people that have some type of issue with some type of pain that they're going through.
Cool. Now I'm going to ask you to do me a favor and shift just a little bit, because above your t-shirt is now a big, beautiful sunset. And we can't see you. Gorgeous. We can't see you because the sun is blowing in.
Looked like he was heading to heaven.
There you go. Yeah.
Oh, no, I don't want to go to heaven yet. I have 5 kids I got to raise.
Yeah, a big halo.
Yeah, actually, I just wanted to see what else there. What else was there in Irvine?
We're jealous. Missouri, right?
That's beautiful here right now.
Very good. All right. So now, where can people get in touch with you if they want to learn more from you about what's going on?
Well, you know what? I would prefer they go through you and contact you, and then you just connect me with them. If they want to talk to me, you know what's funny is that I got asked to speak in Nashville, Tennessee, from the discussion I had earlier, and that's perfectly fine. I am more than happy to go speak on stage and tell people more about what it is we're doing. So I got invited to speak in Nashville. But I think, Rich, I think you, the two of you putting together a podcast, to everything you're doing, I would love people to contact you. And if necessary, then they can reach out to me, because I think you're doing a great job and you can handle anything that's coming through. But yeah, if you think that they need to talk to me for some reason, then send them on through. But I really, truly believe that you guys are doing a great job and you can handle any question or any concern that comes through. But if you think you need to pass them on, feel free.
All right. Well, thank you so much. Well, in that case, I put our thing up there. It's stay tuned with CBDoil.com is the website. And they can always email either one of us. It's Rich at stay tuned with CBDoil.com, or Monnie, M-O-N-N-I-E, like Bonnie with an M, at stay tuned with CBDoil.com. And so there's that's where they can catch us. And I know they can get your book on Amazon. They just need to Google it or Google you, and then they can find all of your other 8 best-selling books. And it's funny, I was telling Monty the other day, it's like, I knew about this book thing just like Andy does, but now if I go and write a book about CBD oil now, all the people who know both of us are going to go, oh yeah, he's just copying Andy. And I thought to myself, well, that's not a bad way to go, to copy somebody as cool as Andy. So that's a good thing. You
know what? I just got to make sure and let you know. My biggest concern is that people believe that I'm doing this for the money, and I want to make sure that nobody even gets that into their head. I think that people just need to try CBD oil. I don't care whether they buy from you, from me, from Matthew, from anybody else, because people need to know that this is fantastic. So I don't want anybody to think that me putting out a website or anything is encouraging them to buy from me. I want them to know that they need to try it. That's the most important thing. And you guys writing a book together, where it's Monnie or you, is that your book is unique to you. And it's going to be a bestseller because of who you are and the information you put into it. And I think they need to read both books, because it's just going to reinforce the fantastic qualities of CBD oil, that it will help them in many, many ways.
Well, and I want to echo that also, from us to the folks who are watching too. It's funny because Monty, we talked about this in our broadcast yesterday, Monty was a little skeptical about this whole thing, and then she started looking into it, and we came up with the same conclusion. This is too good. People need to know about it, whether we make anything off of it or not. And then after watching Dr. Kaylee's interview with you this afternoon, it's like, yeah, it's even more important that we get the word out there to everybody. And as you can see on the screen, for those of you watching, Matthew said he'll be more than happy to help us all as well. So we've got a lot of great opportunities there for everything. So any final thoughts? I know you've got a meeting going on, and you're probably looking to get a nice tall glass of lemonade or perhaps root beer or something like that.
Right.
But any final thoughts before we let you go?
Yeah, well, first of all, I apologize that I couldn't get back home in my studio to do this, that I had to be here in this horrible place called Irvine Spectrum in the sun. So I apologize. But no, I just say, again, there's no trying CBD oil. If you try HempWorks version of CBD oil, there's a 30-day money-back guarantee on an empty bottle. So there's no reason not to get you whatever's going on, whether it's a migraines or pain or blood pressure. It's worth a shot to see if it helps. And to follow Rich and Monty, because they are going to kill it. And you guys are awesome. I love your setup. I love your show. I love that you two are doing this together. If I was only still married, maybe I could do the same thing. And if there's any single awesome women out there, I'm available.
Well, unfortunately, Dr. Kaylee said she's married, so there's no real reason for you to be Louis. And I think I'd swap California for St. Louis, although I'd be a little farther south down in San Diego. So that's one of my favorite spots on the planet. So Andy, thank you so much for coming on. We really appreciate it. And any final thoughts, Monty? Any final questions or anything?
No, it's been great. Matthew.
Stella, did you want to wake up and ask any questions or anything?
I put the dog to sleep. I have that effect on dogs. I put them to sleep.
Yeah, now wait a minute. I know that you taught Cesar Millan everything he knows. Don't deny it. So,
I produced a show together called Love My Pitbull. You can find that on YouTube.
Okay. I'm going to go look that one up. That sounds like a lot of fun. All right. Well, Andy, thanks for being on the show. Matthew, thank you for getting involved in offering to help everybody with what's going on. We're going to be spending a lot more time coming live, both with future guests like Andy and Matthew, and with luck. Did you decide you're going to be nice and share and let us interview Dr. Kaylee also?
Yeah, I told her that you wanted to connect.
Okay,
I said it out in front of everybody.
Okay,
she said
he is just a wealth of information, and we really would like to have her on the show. All right, so having said all that, I guess we're just going to close with what we always do. And again, Andy, thanks for being here. And for the rest of you, stay tuned. We'll talk to you soon.